So I mean, we had hoped, I think as you did, as your staff and everyone on the committee, that language was clear enough. Apparently SBA legal counsel views it differently, and I do not know that we're in a position to address that through litigation. I would hope, if there are disagreements among the agency lawyers and congressional staff and the authorizers and appropriators, that perhaps language can be found that everyone can agree on its meaning. But we had like you, we had thought that what you had done was adequate.
What the administration needs to do is to read the statute, and I'm going to read it again to you. Subject to amounts approved in advance in Appropriations Act, the administration may make grants or enter, and it continues. So it's quite clear. But you know what? We created the Women's Procurement Program. We signed it into law. The administration refused to implement it, and the Women's Chamber of Commerce, of course, they want to work with the administration, but when they are in violation of the law, you have a remedy, and that is to bring a lawsuit, and they did, and the court ruled in their favor. So it seems like women in this country, when they feel violated and that the rights are being violated, they will use the legal recourse that they have in front of them. Mr. Blackwell. You claim that the process for awarding grants to outreach centers was altered to increase the program's competitiveness. Yet some of this year's grant recipients have no history of serving veterans. At the same time, you terminated funding for outreach centers like the Boston one that focuses only on training veterans. This center has served over 4,000 clients over the past 4 years. Given the Veterans Corporation's limited budget, why would you fund organizations without experience over those who have demonstrated success assisting veterans?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The board faced a very difficult decision 2 years ago in that funds are limited, and in order to maintain the national mandate of 106-50, serving nationwide programs, we decided to follow the lead of women business centers in competitive grants. Those competitive grants would be based on opportunities that exist. For example, in 1999, when 106-50 was passed, there were very few, quote, veteran assistance centers around the country. Today, there are literally hundreds, and those hundreds have demonstrated the ability.
But can you explain to me why you don't fund the Boston Center while you fund the Technological and Research Development Authority and the Jewish Vocational Service in Boston, the Seattle Business Assistance Center? They have no experience, none. In their mission statement, if you go to, and they have no experience.
I understand,
They provide no services. So why are you going to terminate centers that have the experience, the capability, and the history of providing services to veterans, and instead give to these who have no experience?
I go back to the fact that the board decided on a competitive grant system in FY06, and that competitive grant system, again modeled after the Women in Business Centers, gave 3 centers that we funded in FY07, Boston, St. Louis, and Flint, Michigan, the opportunity for a non-competitive grant program for that entire year. At that time, they were told that they would be part of a competitive grant system for FY08. That FY08 system had over 32 grants from 22 states compete for those grants.
So what is the success of the 3 centers that has been operating?
Those charts are in my written performance, and we evaluate those every quarter. Their success rates are good. The
So
organizations that...
why are you not providing the money for them
It's
if
very
they're
simple.
good?
We could only fund the top 8 according to our grants committee review. There are 32
So
other
you're
grants that are
telling
there.
me that those who have no experience, no track record, no history, no capability, that they score better than those who have been on the ground providing the service?
No, I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you that these centers
Let's
are
go to the next
qualified through the
statement.
grants.
Question. Mr. Blackwell, the act creating the Veterans Corporation required that your organization develop and coordinate relationships with a number of federal agencies, such as DOL, DOD, and the Department of Commerce. Additionally, you work with SCORE and SBDCs. It seems that over the past 2 years, or few years, the corporation has ignored this mandate. In the last 12 months, what has been your interaction or partnership with any of these agencies or resource partners?
I'd happy to answer that. In December of '07, we co-sponsored the Department of Defense's Doing Business with DOD's show.
But previous to that, since you've been operating, so talk to me about all the coordination that you have been doing.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
In accordance to the mandate.
We work with almost every agency except agriculture, and they just haven't had an opportunity to do that. Ken Yancey at SCORE and I have been working together for my entire 3-year tenure. We send through our portal at TVC's site 300 to 500 people a day to Ken's Counseling Center. Mr. Wilson and I have a memorandum of understanding since my tenure 3 years ago, and we worked literally last Friday. Mr. Wilson's organization and mine did a ribbon cutting in Scranton, Pennsylvania for a young vet who's started his own mining company.
That was last Friday.
That was literally last Friday.
Besides doing workshop in December.
We've been I speak at Mr. Wilson's conferences. We work on programs together. We have an active memorandum of understanding. In terms of DOE, we work very closely with the Department of Energy.
Okay, a specific initiative with the Department of Energy.
We co-sponsor their annual event. We co-sponsored the 8th annual event for Small Business Conference in June of last year.
You sponsor their annual event. Is that solely for veterans?
No, it's veterans comprise a large
Mr.
number
Blackwell,
of those things.
TVC was basically chartered with 3 missions. To establish a professional certification advisory committee, to engage the major federal agencies and partner with them to assist vets, and finally to establish and maintain a network of information and assistance centers. Given that the first 2 mandates have not been met, it seems the corporation will have more resources to ensure a solid framework of centers to assist veterans. However, we understand that the 3 centers that TVC was responsible for funding are all about to close. What efforts have the organization pursued to ensure that the 3 centers in Boston, Missouri, and Michigan will not close?
Well, we're very concerned about their fate as well as we are our own.
What are you going to do so that they don't close?
We're very actively involved in trying to find private funding. A lot of my time is being put on finding that outside private sector funding.
Okay, let me make this clear to you. Then Chairman Talent and I worked very hard to create this legislation, to pass this legislation. And we spent a lot of time in putting this together. And I promise you that I intend to spend a lot of time to make sure that the Vets Corps gets back on track. And so you and I, we're going to be seeing each other a lot.
Well, we'll welcome those
And we
opportunities.
will intend to hold oversight hearings to make sure that the Vets Corps accomplish what it sets out to do. And that is not to close centers and open 3 million centers and dilute the resources that you don't have. So let's make sure that the mission of this corporation is achieved, and we're going to be seeing each other quite a bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Guess I forgot to mention to fasten your seatbelts.